Welcome to episode 8 of Starting Nowhere. I'm your host, Brandon. Today, my guest is one of the co founders of Wealthbuilders.me, Nicholas Minter. He'll tell us about his own financial literacy journey and how his company seeks to help its members. He'll also describe some of the strategies they use and the types of markets that they play in. Please enjoy today's episode. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. Why don't you go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself?
What's going on, everybody? I'm Nicholas Minter, co-founder of the Wealth Builders. We have a wonderful financial literacy program that teaches people how to turn credit to cash. How do you make money within the foreign exchange market? How do you create a residual income in real estate? And lastly, how to be profitable within drop shipping.
Awesome, awesome. I have a pretty good amount of knowledge about a lot of those topics, so I'm very interested to dive into those. But before we get there, I'd like to start with your journey. How did you come into understanding what financial literacy meant, and then also just how did you get it for yourself?
Man, it's crazy, Brandon. For me, um, imagine this. I was that guy who always did everything that everybody told me to do as a child.
Hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that, many of us in society can relate to that. So, as you're growing up, it's like, Nick, you need to go to school. Why do you need to go to school? So you can work hard and you can get a good job. And then after you get that good job, you can get that nice house and that picket fence and have that family and that dog and all of these wonderful things that we see on TV or that our family wants for us.
Hmm.
For me, that wasn't necessarily the case. So, I was the studious child. I went to college, double majored in college in interactive design and game development and sound design, got two bachelor's degrees from the Savannah College of Art and Design. And society also said, hey, Nick, you're a black man in America. Go back and get a master's degree. So I went back and got a master's degree. And I finally got out of college and I'm beginning to apply for different jobs. I applied for over 200 jobs and I didn't get one single interview, right?
Hmm.
Now imagine doing all this hard work, graduating cum laude, having all this knowledge, and then on the resume side, you've done so many different things as an entrepreneur, contract work, working with all these different types of businesses, but in corporate America, no one's hiring. So I found myself in a situation with all this student loan debt,
Hmm.
over 200,000 to be exact. And I'm sure,
Hmm.
a lot of people have dealt with that. Um, I had a dream of working in the entertainment industry somehow. After working with a lot of different artists in the music industry and even doing video game audio, I found myself in film. So, in order for me to be successful within film, I actually had to get a lot of location sound equipment. And if you guys know anything about the film industry, equipment is pretty expensive.
Hmm.
So, my first year in, I was renting equipment from a lot of different rental houses. I looked at my taxes at the end of the year and I realized that, I think I spent somewhere between $30,000 to $50,000 just in rentals that was coming out of my pocket. So that was one of the moments where I decided that, hey, if I want to be successful, I need to own this equipment because I could actually put that money in my pocket. So that's when I decided to get my credit together. Once I improved my credit, I literally jumped from like a 500 credit score to like a 640. When I got the 640, I got a Navy Federal card. Navy Federal gave me 25,000 in lines of credit on one credit
Hmm.
card. And then every time I did a job, I would swipe my card and get a new piece of equipment. Once that began to happen and I started building up all these data points and I started building up all this age, I finally ended up getting close to 800.
Hmm.
So that was like my introduction to financial literacy, me being able to leverage my credit in order to be successful within my business.
Okay, and you touched on a lot of things there that are very much speak to my heart. For one, Navy Federal, I think a lot more people need to be aware that Navy Federal is hands down, in my opinion, the best credit union in the country. But let me say that a different way: the best widespread credit union in the country. Because there are small ones where, like, if you're in that neighborhood or something like that, you can get access to them, and they have really good rates and all this type of stuff. But Navy Federal, generally speaking, is everywhere you're gonna be. and it has all of these different products that are really really good, especially as you mentioned a high limit on their credit products, which can help out a lot of people if you use them responsibly. So um so I, I think the one thing that for me is very interesting about your story is the thing I think our generation is hearing a lot of is the student loan crisis and the student loan debt that is put onto people and how it hampers their future. And we do it because of the system was told, excuse me, the system we were given is to go to college after high school and then possibly go get a master's or something like that in the hopes of getting a good job and not thinking about how we actually do that. So starting there, if as part of your program for financial literacy and those type of things, what do you recommend for people who are looking at student loans? Do you recommend that they calculate that decision, or are you looking at a possibly like trade schools or other paths that don't necessarily involve a 4-year degree?
Yeah, that's a good question. When it comes to your career, do what you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I say do what you're passionate about, especially at a young age, if you do what you're passionate about at a young age, it's either going to work or it's going to work, right? And I've
Right.
always been that type of person. So don't worry so much about finding something to fall back on. Because if you find yourself in a situation where you have a job that you don't enjoy, or if you're doing a career that you don't like or you're not passionate about, you're going to spend at least 20 years doing something that you don't like, looking back like, hey, I wish I did something else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number one. Pay attention to what it is that you find value in. And if you find value in that, then that's something that you probably should pursue in your career.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to financial literacy and being successful as an entrepreneur, ownership is everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you do decide to get a 9 to 5 somewhere, great. Make sure it's something that you're passionate in that you can see yourself doing for 40 years. But if not, for the other people that are entrepreneurs, for the people that want ownership, for the people that want to break generational curses and not be bound, right, by that alarm clock in the morning,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
then you need to own something. So, especially within our course material, what we teach people how to do specifically with credit is how do I remove all negative items from my credit report? Put myself in a position to remove all collections in 30 seconds or less from TransUnion. Being able to remove inquiries in 24 hours or less from your credit report. How do I create a clean credit report in 2 weeks or less? These are the things that we're teaching. Now, the thing is this: what's the point of having an 800 or an 850 credit score if you never use it?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's time to build out the credit report after it's clean, and then we start to leverage it. Now, this is where it starts to get fun because you got a lot of companies that'll just say, hey, we'll clean your credit report for you. But what we're going to teach you how to do is how do you do it yourself and save time, and how do you leverage it?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if you want to take your family on a trip. A lot of times it takes people a whole year to save up that money or they wait on their tax return. Well, what if you could leverage your credit and get that for free? What if you
Mm-hmm.
could travel for free? How would your life change if you could get free groceries? How would your life change if you could get free hotel stays? So we show people how to get the right types of credit cards
Mm-hmm.
and how to leverage that in order to lower their overhead while they're increasing their income.
Right. So I'm gonna jump out on a limb here, and I'm guessing you don't pray at the altar of Dave Ramsey then.
I do not pray at the altar of Dave Ramsey.
Yeah,
Shout out to
and I'm
Dave
with you.
Ramsey though.
Yeah, no, I'm like I said, my thing is this. I like to talk crap about Dave Ramsey just because it's funny, but that dude's helped a lot of people, and I think that a lot of people in this financial literacy and personal finance world have helped people. And if it works for you, it works for you. That's the
Right.
important part, right? But I'm with you. I don't subscribe to the Dave Ramsey methodology, which is don't use credit. I think you have to teach people the skills to use things responsibly. Otherwise, you're not putting those behavioral keys in there. And if they don't know how to behave, it doesn't matter what you teach them, they're always going to get back into trouble. So that's why I'm a big proponent of using your credit, leveraging your credit for your gain, whether that be, for example, getting a mortgage on a rental property that's going to bring you back income above what you pay for it. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And those type of things. So I'm with you on that for sure. On making sure that you're using credit responsibly. And then I don't know if you were alluding to this or not. So forgive me if I'm going the wrong direction here, but using credit in a way that pays you back, like credit card points and all these different systems that are out there to get the things that you're trying to get for free. Not spending above what you would normally spend to do so, but to use that system to pay you back. You should never be spending credit, or excuse me, money on a credit card that isn't paying you back somehow, some way.
Exactly, exactly. So it's all about being responsible. So I give you a perfect example. What credit cards do you have right now?
Bruh, you asked the wrong question for me. I got like 14, 15 credit cards. I'm one of those.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
one of
So
those dudes.
what's your favorite?
The gold, Amex Gold.
Amex Gold, business or
Nah,
personal?
no, I got the personal ones. I do have business credit cards, but I keep those for my actual business. But I am aware that there are a lot of perks for the Amex Business Gold, particularly, and then a couple of the Chase ones as well. Because I do have the preferred and the excuse me, the cash
Hmm.
preferred cash and the ink preferred. I think just regular.
All right, so I'll give you guys a perfect example. Let's just talk about the Amex Personal and the Amex Gold. So
Right.
when you got your Amex Gold right now, here's one nugget. And if you guys are listening to this right now, just remember that note takers are money makers. If you have the Amex Gold, or if you're looking to get the Amex Gold, number one, Amex is going to pull Experian.
Mm-hmm.
Experian. Every single credit card or every single bank does not always pull from all of the three credit bureaus,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Amex is going to pull Experian. So here's the thing: when you get that card, you receive four times the reward points um, on groceries, right?
Yep.
You also receive, I believe, three times the reward points on flights.
I think so. They did do a reorg recently, but it's four times on groceries and restaurants, and I forget what the three times is right now. But I
Yeah,
think I want to say yeah. Let's go with
it's
flights
three
for right
times
now.
on flights because the platinum is five times on flights. So
Yep.
here's the thing: now, when you start to use your credit cards for your everyday spend, now you put yourself in a position to lower your overhead. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine if you're able to generate 1,000 point, or actually more than that, 5,000 points a month. Because
Mm-hmm.
let's say your rent is $2,000, you swipe your credit card for that, right? Let's say you end up getting a bunch of groceries. How much do groceries cost you? Probably about 500 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 500 times four, 500, 1,000, 500, 2,000. That puts me at 2,000 bonus points. So now I got my 2,000 bonus points on average for the average American for rent wherever they live at, if they live in the city. And then I got another 2,000 because I got $500 worth of groceries in 1 month. So that puts
Mm-hmm.
me at 4,000 bonus points, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the ratio with bonus points, a 1-to-1 ratio would mean that 4,000 bonus points actually gives you an extra $40
Mm-hmm.
because you multiply that times 1 cent.
Yep.
So just imagine doing that over time. Imagine being able to have 10,000 bonus points and doing that over the course
Yeah.
of a year. Or imagine getting that bonus that you received when you first got the card and you got a $60,000 bonus, right? So what I teach people how to do is, how do I get 100,000 bonus points, which actually is going to give me $1,000,
Mm-hmm.
and how do I use that and turn that into cash?
Yeah.
Now
Exactly.
I can get my groceries for free. I can get my utilities for free. I can I can pay for so many different things that I wouldn't normally pay for, that I would pay for with cash. Now I'm rewarding myself with good behavior.
Absolutely. And real quick, just a couple things to clarify in there because I know what you're talking about, but I just want to break it down a little extra level for people who may not be aware. Uh, it was the 4 points times 500 on the groceries because you get 4 points for grocery spend, but then you get 1 point for all non-categorical spend that they have a bonus for, which is how you get to 2,000 for the rent. So that's one thing on that. And then I think there was a small error there. It's 60,000 points for the sign up of the goal, not $60,000. Because if it's $6,000, that's a lot better and a lot
No,
more
no,
people
no,
can be
sixty
signing up.
thousand points. Did I say sixty
Yeah,
thousand dollars? Please forgive me.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. I'm about to say I was about to go sign up for another one right now.
So 60,000 points, right? So imagine if you're able to acquire 100,000 points in 30 days,
Yeah.
and you learn how to do that over and over and over and over again. That's an extra $1,000 in your pocket,
Hmm.
right? Now, you can do that actually by hiding your credit card utilization or doing something called manufactured spending, right?
Yeah, you gotta be careful, especially with Amex and manufacturer spend.
Hey,
They be busting heads.
but you got to know the rules, man. When you
Yeah, yeah,
learn the
yeah,
rules, you can do anything,
yeah.
right?
So go ahead and tell people what manufacturer spending is real quick.
Manufacturer spending is when you're able to take your credit cards, create purchases, and from there acquire the reward points or the bonus points without actually taking money out of your bank account.
Mhm.
So, a similar process, or one that everybody might be familiar with, is actually purchasing gift cards with your
Mhm.
credit card. Putting the money on a gift card, pulling the money off, and putting it back into your checking account, whether you decide to get a money order. Or another way that you guys might also know is the Apple method. Are you familiar with the Apple method?
I don't recall it off the top of my head, so go ahead.
All right, so imagine if you go to Apple, right,
Mhm.
and you buy a few laptops for, let's say, they each cost you 1,000 each.
Mhm.
So now you got $2,000 worth of laptops, and what you do is you do a split payment. So let's say I put $1,900 on my credit card when I make this purchase, and I put $100 on my debit card. I leave, go get a snack downstairs in the mall, come back, I return the item. But when I return the item, instead of giving them my credit card, I give them my debit card.
Mhm.
Now I just liquidated the credit card and I have the entire $2,000 on my debit card. I take that money out of my checking account and I pay off the balance of my credit card. Therefore, I get the reward points for free.
I got you. Yeah, but like I said, with those type of situations, you definitely got to be careful because I'm sure you're familiar with the My FICO forums.
My FICO forms? Yeah, what about it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, just on the MyFICO forums, of course, you have people that's just for those who don't know, MyFICO forums is just a community for people who like to use credit products, credit cards, a lot of stuff like that, or whatever. And a lot of the people on there, they just give a different anecdotal stories about things they've seen, things they've experienced. A lot of them, well, I shouldn't say a lot of them, but those are the people who are out on the forefront of how hard you can push your credit and everything like that. They're doing some pretty interesting stuff out there because you have people who are churning, of course, who are just signing up for credit cards to get the bonus and then dropping them off. So you have certain City, I think, is a big one. City doesn't like that, but you have certain different credit providers who are a little bit adverse to that. So just with the manufactured spend, that's where I'm speaking to as well. Is make sure you do your research, you do your homework. Obviously, talk to somebody like Nicholas here, or go on the MyFICO forums and look at that stuff too. And just make sure you learn because manufactured spend can be something to get you in trouble. But like the gift card situation where you were talking about there is you get 4 points back at grocery stores, right? Well, grocery stores sell gift cards. Well, the gift card doesn't have to be spent at the grocery store. So you're not necessarily taking your money and just spending it to spend it. You're just moving it to a different way to spend it. So you go and you get that $100 gift card because you needed to get something done on your car that's going to cost $100. So it's the same thing.
Exactly, exactly. Um, did you know that? Did you know your credit cards can make you money?
How so?
Trade line business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about so many different people that if you add somebody to your credit card as an authorized user, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they have good credit and good credit history, in turn, that can potentially boost your credit score.
Mm-hmm.
So think about the thousands and thousands of dollars that people pay every single year to improve their credit. Because we
Mm-hmm.
all know that it's going to cost you more to have bad credit than it is to improve your credit. So if I have one credit card and I have 5 slots on that credit card and I decide to sell two of them for $500 each, that one credit card made me $1,000. So what you do with your trade line business is you keep people on for a cycle. A cycle is 2 months. So now every 2 months, I can take that one credit card and sell those slots. So now over the course of a year, if I sold each slot for $1,000 in for every 2 months, now I have $6,000 that I made for the year. If I got two credit cards, I just made $12,000. Now it's just duplication. How do I put myself in a position to get the right types of credit cards and as many as I need? And how do I create affiliates to sell those slots to create another six-figure income for myself? Right? This is how we become pandemic proof. This is how we beat things like the coronavirus shutdown. Now I can make money from home and I don't have to physically interact with people or worry about punching that alarm clock every day because I started using my credit to turn it into cash. Because I started doing other things like learning how to trade and getting into drop shipping to create residual income for myself.
Mm-hmm. But again, the same thing that I've said with the other things is make sure that you know what you're doing. Don't just hear this little excerpt from this podcast because he ain't giving you all the knowledge and everything like that. That's why they have a system. Don't just take that and try to run out with it and then find yourself in some kind of bad situation because you thought you had the whole pie and you only got a piece of it. So make sure you see it from all angles and everything. So just want to put that out there because
Yeah.
people do that though.
Hey, if y'all want to learn, hit me up. I got you.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna share the IG and I'm gonna share the link to the website and everything like that so they can do that. But I just want to make sure that they don't stop right here and be like, "God, that's it. That's all I need. I'm out there and I'm about to sell all these slots." And we find people come back and get mad. Like that's because you didn't know the whole thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, you may know how to dribble the ball, but if you can't shoot, it ain't helping nobody.
It
So
ain't
you got
helping.
to have the whole thing. So
Right.
let me ask you a question though, because I think we've gotten into a lot of the ways to make money. And one of the things that I've always gotten into when it comes to the personal finance realm is people are always interested in how to make more money, but people don't want to learn as much about what you do with that money and how it protects you from consistently just trying to make more to spend more. Do you have anything in your program that teaches people some of the behavioral characteristics of like how you should be budgeting your money, how you should spend your money, and what fields and all that type of stuff?
Our entire program starts with mindset,
Hmm.
and it doesn't matter if you're doing real estate, if you're doing credit, drop shipping, or even trading. In order to be successful in any of these spaces, it takes discipline and risk management. And you literally
Hmm.
have to change as a person in order to be successful in these things, especially when
Hmm.
it comes to trading. So we have mindset calls once a week within our program, just breaking down, hey, how should I organize my time? How should I start my day? What ways can I save when I'm doing certain things? So just to give you an example, let's just talk about trading for a minute. If you're learning how to trade, the first thing that we teach you is while you're trading, don't put money in your trading account. Trade demo first. And then after you learn the skill set, then apply what you learned in order to be successful. Right?
Hmm.
So now, since you put money in your trading account, if you put $1,000 in your trading account, we're not going to teach you to trade the whole thousand. We're going to teach you, hey, how do I increase this trading account by 1 to 5% every single day? How do I only leverage maybe $10 or $20 at a time of this 1,000 versus the entire thousand?
Hmm.
So that's what I mean by literally changing as a person, because the typical person to say, hey, I'm going to take this $1,000 and I'm going to make it 2,000 tomorrow.
Hmm.
That's bad risk management,
Yeah.
right? The same thing, in the fix and flip market,
Yep.
right? So you want to practice proper risk management, mindset, consistency, and discipline in all the things that you do. So if we teach you, hey, if you're doing the trade line business, only add 2 authorized users to one card, right? And you decide to do 10 and they shut the card down, that's because you was being greedy.
Hmm.
So you got to change as a person in order to be successful. So I think our mindset calls definitely help a lot of our members. We have members all over the world. We got over 3,000 members within our organization right now. It's definitely been an amazing journey.
And one of the things that I always like to recommend to people when it comes to that type of stuff, we talk about risk management, is risk appetite. Understand who you are as a person. One of the things you'll find about personal finances is very much personal. You have to really get in touch with who you are as a person and learn where you can push yourself and where you need to realize who you are. Because if you're somebody who doesn't do effective risk management and you take on more risk than you actually have the emotional capacity for, you're going to be one of those people who start selling when the market is down, and then you lock in those losses and everything like that. And you need to make sure that you're managing that and knowing who you are, and also trying to, I don't want to say change who you are, but trying to manage it. Like, so if you're somebody who is very, very risk adverse by nature, you do need to get a little bit more comfortable with risk. But at the same time, don't get a highly speculative portfolio that puts you all in risky currencies or risky just industries in general, and then start selling when it starts going down, because that's the whole point with risk. If you can manage your risk effectively and understand your own personal risk appetite, then you can maximize your gains and hopefully come out of the whole thing positively.
Right. And it's interesting that you said don't sell when it's going down. Now that depends on what you're trading.
Right. It depends on what you're trading, and it depends on a lot of factors. That's a very simplified thing to say, but there are a lot of factors that matter for that. Yes, you're correct.
Right. So when you're trading stocks, that makes perfect sense. But when you're trading the foreign exchange market, because you're trading a currency pair, you can make money when price is going up, or you can make money when price is falling. Um,
Hmm.
so that's what I love about that market. And just in terms of who I am and what I identify with when it comes to trading, um, you know, I find myself only being available during the day, like early in the morning, right?
Hmm.
So we're talking between the hours of about 6 and like 12. By 12 o'clock, I'm doing something full speed. Like I'm surprised I'm even available right now, Friday at 3 p.m. Right?
Hmm.
But if you look at the trading session, that's actually the New York session, which starts around 9:30.
Right.
So I find all of my trades before noon, and I only trade 3 days a week.
Hmm.
So you also need to understand, like when you're a trader, what pairs do you like? When do they move? So for me, my pairs move between 9:30 and 12. They're usually faster pairs or indices or metals like gold, US 30, NAS 100, SPX 500. You can definitely trade those as foreign exchange pairs um, because they're a little more volatile, but I can get in the market and get out of the market. So that's what you would call an intraday trader. I'm not much of a swing trader. I don't like to hold trades that long. I want to get in
Hmm.
and out in a day.
So explain it to everybody what pairs are.
Okay, so a pair. You ever been out of the country?
Oh yeah.
Okay, where'd you go? Mexico? You ever been there?
No, I haven't been to Mexico. I was active duty military, so I went to the Middle East twice, and then last year I went to Europe with my girlfriend.
Nice, nice, nice. So like when you went to Europe, they've got the euro over there.
Hmm.
So the thing is like when you go to another country and you have the United States dollar, if you spend money or if you exchange money in that market, they're going to give you back another currency. In that case,
Hmm.
it would have been the euro. So that is actually a currency pair. When I take one pair and I exchange it for another pair. Now, there is an exchange rate that's involved, and that exchange rate is constantly in flux. So, what we teach people how to do is how do I capitalize on that? How do I hold this currency for a specific amount of time when I exchange it? And how do I wait for it to go into profit to exchange it back? So now I've earned money on that currency that I've exchanged. And you can do
Got you.
that from your phone
Mhm. It was, well, why would they call that a pair?
because there's more than one currency that you're trading at a time.
Got you.
So you
Okay.
got the
And that's what I
euro
thought.
and the United States dollar, right?
Got you. And that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I understood correctly. So, but and so what this is what's interesting to me because you're talking about a more active portfolio management and active trading and those type of things. And myself, my strategy largely in specific to trading is index investing, and I'm more of a buy and hold long term person, whatever. But I'm also diversified in my different interests and everything like that. So I'm always interested to hear more about the active traders and what their mindset is and how they go about. Trading in, like you said, intraday trading or holding or whatever else they do. So it's just a very interesting discussion because that's the one thing I think that people get lost in finance, and it's kind of set up that way so they can get lost in it. There is a million ways to make $1 million when it comes to finance. When it comes to, like you said, just some of the things we talked about today is real estate, drop shipping, which I want to get into a little bit because I know what drop shipping is. I haven't have an Amazon FBA business and stuff like that, so I'm very familiar with drop shipping, those type of things as well. But was anyways, you got drop shipping, got FBA is another different one. You've got just trading, and you've got real estate. You've got real estate flipping. You've got real estate rentals. You've got all these different types of things you can do to make these money. Make money. You have to find the right one for you and find the right strategies for you. So I just find this very, very intriguing. The different things you're talking about. So let's go ahead and shift into that. The drop shipping. Can go ahead and give me a little breakdown of what drop shipping is and how you got into it.
Oh man, drop shipping is great. It's funny because my mom had a store, right?
Hmm. Like a Phil or like a brick and mortar.
My mom had a brick and mortar store. Her
Okay.
and my aunt, they had stores. And I think it was called like Step in Style, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was
Nice,
called
nice.
Step in Style. So what they would do is they would find clothes everywhere, and they would resell them. And it's crazy because they had to go pick all these things up. So like me, I'm an internet junkie. I've always bought a lot of things online.
Hmm.
So when I started doing research on drop shipping, I noticed that a lot of the products were being sold online. So, my mom ended up closing her store and she ended up going all digital, right? And she was like, "Oh, I gotta get my eBay going." She would always say that, Nick, I gotta get my eBay going. I gotta get my eBay going. So I was like, what are you doing? She's like, I've got these clothes and, I'm selling them on eBay. She became very successful doing that. So, once I kind of saw that and I started realizing all of the things that I was buying online and I started doing more research, I started realizing that a lot of people were selling products online, but they weren't actually picking up the inventory. There was somebody else or another company that actually had the products and they were the middleman. So drop shipping is actually a low overhead, high rewards type of system where you have a website, a customer comes to your website or comes to your platform, they purchase the item from you, you go to your wholesaler or your merchant, they send the product to your customer and you never see the product.
Hmm.
That's what drop shipping is. So once I started getting into that, I was like, yo, there's a lot of things that are seasonal. Or when that new iPhone comes out, none of
Hmm.
the adapters work. So you gotta go online to find it. So you can capitalize on that. Like even right now, a lot of people are selling a lot of Christmas and Thanksgiving items online right now.
Hmm.
So Christmas lights, ornaments, Christmas trees, things of that nature. You can sell those things online and never see the product. So, within our course material, we teach people how to be successful not only with the eBay platform, but also how to be successful with Shopify if you decide to create your own website and your
Yep.
own brand. And I think the thing that makes, our platform really great is the community and that we have multiple educators that have all
Hmm.
made a minimum of six figures in each of these fields.
Got you. Yeah, and like I said, e-commerce is a very interesting one, and I think that's a great revolution for a lot of the people who are looking to be a little bit more active in finding what starts out for many people a side income, but then becomes their main time income. Because
Right.
just to go down some of the titles real quick, and then we can dive a little bit more into them. You've got drop shipping. You've got you can completely contain a business within Amazon. It's a risky thing to do, and I don't necessarily recommend it, but you can do it. But you got Amazon, which is called FBA, fulfillment by Amazon, shipping stuff to Amazon, so it can be Prime eligible and that type of stuff, and they handle all the logistics for you. Then you've got private label, you know what I mean, where you basically take a product, generally speaking, made overseas, and then you do the branding for it and all that type of stuff, and then you sell it as your product. 90%, I shouldn't say that. That's a made up number. I'm just throwing it out because it's a lot. But a lot of the products on Amazon that are sold are private label products. You can find the same exact manufactured product with just three different branding, packaging, and maybe a brand on the actual product itself, that are sold. And so when you're doing things like drop shipping, when you're doing things like private label, what you're really doing is running the business of that product. You're running a website, you're running the marketing, you're doing all this stuff, but not necessarily getting as heavily involved in the logistics of the supply chain. You usually have somebody who handles that for you. So it's got a lot of the strengths of running a business without, like you said, a low overhead. So you don't have to actually buy that material until it's ordered. What's really crazy is when you start getting to market arbitrage for e-commerce platforms, which I this doesn't happen very often because they're both too big to do this most of the time. But every once in a while, you can find an eBay to Amazon or vice versa arbitrage, where something is sold for so low on Amazon or on eBay that you can sell it across platform, and all you do is place the order from the other market and then put in the person who bought it from you's information, and it ships it directly to them.
Right. Right. I've seen that before. Arbitrage is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, so the main thing is even with all of these pillars that I'm talking about is how do I first put myself in a position to free up my time, because time freedom is very important. So how do I get out of that job, right? If I'm looking to
Hmm.
make another 2,000, another 4,000, what types of things do I need to improve on to make sure that I create that income for myself? And now that I
Hmm.
have that time freedom, now I can focus on the goal. Now I can focus on how do I turn this into a six figure business? How do I turn this into a multi six figure business or $1 million business? How do I create additional streams of income? And I think at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, because they don't teach us this in schools. They don't teach us
Hmm.
how to be successful with credit. They don't teach us about loans and all of these things when we're growing up, right?
Hmm.
So we literally have to get out there and learn about these things in order to be successful. What they do teach us how to do is they tell us, yo, go work really hard and go work for somebody. That's great
Yeah.
if you want to live your life in a box. But I want to live extraordinary. I want to wake up and not worry about the alarm. I want to go see my family and spend time with them and travel whenever I want to, right? I want to create
Mhm.
these experiences and live a fruitful lifestyle and eat where I want and go where I want whenever I want to do it. This is how you do it. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable in order to live a comfortable life in the future.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times people are afraid to come out of that box in order to be successful. If we continue to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, we already know what the outcome is. So
Mhm.
why am I so fearful of change if it has the potential to put me in a better situation?
But I think that you started. I think you said this near the beginning. It's using growth to push you in an uncomfortable place is the only way that growth happens. And so one of the things that you have to try to do is if you do want a life that is more orchestrated towards your own goals, that may require you to get out of the 9 to 5. For most people, it would, because again, the 9 to 5 is very restrictive on how and when you work. So if you're looking for something that is more active, and you have to approach entrepreneurship, and what we have to stop doing, and especially it's 2020 now. So entrepreneurship is not going down to your local shopping mall or whatever else it is, renting a space, taking out all this debt and everything like that, and then opening a store. It can be, but that's not the only methodology and by which to do it now.
Right.
Now you have to start pivoting that mindset to all these digital mediums to do it. So this is where your program, stuff like your program comes in with the drop shipping, when you're talking about trading, when you're talking about foreign exchange markets and all these different types of things. Those are more modern ways to make money. And those are some of the ways to make money. And so I think that's where people have to continue to do that mindset shift to what the modern day entrepreneur looks like.
Information changes your situation, but only through implementation.
Hmm.
That's it. The more information that we're able to consume and understand, as long as we implement it properly, that's how things change, right? A lot of people think that education ends after school. That's when it starts. That's when it starts. Your learning is a lifelong process.
Hmm.
So I never want to put myself in a box where I stop learning, where
Hmm.
I stop, especially when the world changes like that. Like I had the power of the presidential office from my iPhone.
Hmm.
I can do anything on my iPhone, right? So what we need to learn how to do is how do I turn this smartphone that's actually a smartphone into a smartphone? Because if it doesn't make you any money, it's just a dumb phone.
Hmm.
How do I keep this smartphone a smartphone? And that's what we want to teach people how to do with these processes.
I got you. So let's touch on something not in a direct manner, because I don't, obviously I'm not trying to give out your course for free here. Uh, what do you have you seen the trend in the forex foreign exchange uh, market for people to kind of become snake oil salesmen? It seems like in the forex market, much like other markets, and that doesn't make, let me be clear about this, that doesn't make forex not worthwhile. It does not make forex itself inherently rife for corruption. But what it does mean is that that is a thing that people are trying to sell skills to for other people, and not everybody who does that in any market is scrupulous. You can do that with people who, I mean, a big one is the supplementation industry. People fake supplements all the time and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to talk bad about the forex. I just want to say, have you seen that to be growing? Because I've noticed over the past few years that a lot of people have gotten more interested in forex, and they start trying to sell courses to people and these type of things, and not every one of them is worthwhile. So what would be a tip other than signing up with you for somebody who's looking to do that? How do you keep from going to somebody who may not be on the up and up?
That's one of the reasons why me and my business partners, Taekwon Bernie and Cameron Simmons, that's one of the reasons why we created our own product. It
Hmm.
was because we've been a part of a lot of different types of organizations and or educational platforms, and the mentorship that they were providing wasn't the mentorship that they promised, right?
Hmm.
So basically you have these industries becoming popular and these people selling courses to the point where they are recruiting people for a residual income or to hit a specific rank, and they're promising them that they will help them learn. But After they join, they never get a phone call, an email, or a text from that person. They just disappear, right? So, in our course material, I'm really big on mentorship. So that's one of the reasons why we do a lot of one-on-ones with our members. That's one of the reasons why we created our 24/7 discussion groups. If you ever have a question, you can drop it in the chat. That's one of the reasons why we do live webinars every single day of the week. So there's no reason why somebody comes in and they feel like that they can't get the help that they need if they have a question. You can join any course, right? And you can watch a bunch of videos, but you can't pause that video and ask a question. So,
Mhm.
just to get back to what you were saying, have I seen people come into this industry, sell products, and not really mentor their people or help them? Absolutely. Does it mean that the foreign exchange is a scam? The foreign exchange is not a scam. It's a worldwide market. People need to understand that you're learning how to trade within the market. So Forex is not a thing that you do. Forex is a global market. So you learn how to trade within the foreign exchange market. So you have to
Mhm.
learn the skill set, right? So when you're joining these organizations, understand that if you do join a platform, an educational platform, you're not joining for your friends.
Mhm.
You're joining because you want to be educated on something and you want to learn a skill set that's going to pay you for the rest of your life. Now, how long it actually takes you to learn how to trade is going to be up to how much you actually study. How much do you apply the information that you learn? Just to be
Mhm.
fully transparent with you, it took me 6 months to learn how to trade. A strong 6 months of studying. And even after that, there have been times where I would put $1,000 in my trading account and lose it the same day.
Mhm.
Why? Because I wasn't practicing proper risk management. I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have a group of people that could look over me and help me and hold me accountable. Once we made our course material, I've seen people come in and not make the same mistakes that I made because we taught them and we showed them. Mentors are nothing but shortcuts,
Mhm.
right? So for the people that are interested in learning how to trade, and shameless plug, of course you could
Yeah.
join our program, but if you are in other programs or you're thinking about joining other programs, remember that when it comes to financial literacy, all of these things are skill sets that you're learning for yourself personally that you can pass off to your community and your families to break generational curses and build generational wealth. That's the point of all of these things. And there have been
Mhm.
people that have been trading for years. Like when you put your money in the bank takes our money out and they trade it on the foreign exchange market,
Mhm.
right? And then they give you back what 0.001% on your money, but they made $10,000 off of your money.
Hey, but I
Now,
got that penny though.
right now, what you're learning how to do is hey, if I want to make money like the banks, I got to think like the banks. We teach you how to trade with the banks.
So there's something you said there that I think for me is the answer to my initial question. How do you tell really knows what they're doing from a snake oil salesman? Because you mentioned in there it takes work. Anybody who tells you they have some product that's going to make you money and you don't have to work for it, they lying. Period. Point blank. There is nothing that comes from it. That comes with money or a flat stomach without some kind of work, some kind of sacrifice, some kind of behavioral change. That's why everybody doesn't have it. If everybody could get it for free, they would get it for free.
Right. You know, if people tell you that they win every trade, that's
Hmm.
not somebody we want to be around. And I've been doing this for a long time to know that even till this day, I don't win every trade. Let's be honest, right? So when it comes to things like that, you want to have that type of transparency with the people that are within your circle. The point of trading is to have proper risk management and to win more than you lose, right? Look, I don't have to be the best trader. I don't have to be the person that catches the most pips in the market, but I do want to be the best version of myself. I want to be the best withdrawer that I can be. Let's talk
Hmm.
about that because a lot of people will post screenshots of the quote unquote money that they're making, but they won't post that withdrawal,
Hmm.
right?
So
So
go ahead. I know what you're talking about, but go ahead, break that down for people. What you mean by that?
so what I'm saying is like a lot of people will post online, money that they're making in their demo account to try to entice you to join their organization, but they'll never post a withdrawal that they made
Hmm.
because they're not actually trading. So that's
Exactly.
the
Because if
thing,
you
like
open a bunch of demo accounts, you're gonna make that money one way or another, but that don't make you a good trader.
that'll make you a good trader. So here's the thing, like when it comes to trading or when it comes to anything in life, when it comes to money or being successful, especially when you're looking up to people, don't compare your chapter 3 to that other successful person's chapter 10 because you didn't see all the hard work and all the groundwork that they put in to get there.
Hmm.
So understand that when it comes to a lot of these things in financial literacy, in business, and being an entrepreneur, that it's always going to be you against you. And if you focus on being the best version of yourself, if you focus on betting on yourself, you're going to win. Because my plan A is my plan A. My plan B is my plan A, right? It's going to work or it's going to work. And that's the mindset that we have to have. And that's how hard we go in our program. We don't want you to fail. We're going to hold you accountable. We went on a trip in Vegas, right? I put it out maybe like a week and a half before 40 people showed up. And one of the exercises that we did was we said, hey, we're going to go climb this mountain. Now, mind you, this mountain on Lone Mountain in Vegas is hot, it's sweaty, the air is dry. And every time you thought you got to the top, when you got to the top, you would look up and it was another peak. Finally got to the third peak. I'm like, yes, we made it. I'm done. And when I looked up again, it was another peak. I was ready to give up. Now I'm looking down to the left and I see people, they're ready to give up, right? But the thing is this, if people look up to you, what do you got to do? You got to lead from the front. So if I give up, what do you think everybody else is going to do? They're going to say, okay, let's turn around, let's go back, right? So now, me and a group of other team members, we walk all the way down to the last person that's sitting down. And we encourage them to keep going and to keep fighting. And we all made it to the top together. Now, the point of this story is this. At the beginning, I told everybody, we're here right now, and at the top of this mountain is your goal. And the only thing that's stopping you from getting there is actually taking that road to travel it. Are you going to allow anything to stop you from getting there? And everybody said no. But what they didn't realize was that adversity that they might face along the way, that mental information, that mental fortitude, they didn't know how strong they were going to be or how weak they could be, potentially be. But when you start to surround yourself with a group of individuals that have a strong mindset, that are motivated, that are determined, how can I fail if I have everybody else around me encouraging me and showing me the way? It's easy to fail when you're by yourself. It's easy to give up when you're by yourself. But when everybody's rooting for you, how can you fail? Right? And that was the point of that exercise to show them, like, listen, you got all these people in your network within WB that can help you. You can literally lean on one another to be successful.
So I think what programs like yours do and what you're talking about there is put you in a group of people who are going to push you above where you are today. Because there's that old saying, I don't remember who said it or whatever, but if you're around five motivated people, you're going to be the sixth. And that's exactly what you're talking about, raising the average of your group and putting yourself with other people who have that same mindset to achieve something beyond themselves, or at least beyond where they are currently. The military's built up that same principle. You know what I mean? That's what you do. You get in a squad full of people, and if they're high performers, if they're going out there and they're charging mountains like you just talked about, then you're going to do the same thing. You ain't going to be the one who's in the back. Now, granted, there is every like one out of I don't know how many people, there is that one person that you just can't help. They're not going to do it. You know what I mean? But that's okay. Not every path is not for everybody.
Right, right. One thing that I didn't get to mention is, real estate, man. Like,
Mm,
you know, we have a real estate course, and I think the biggest misconception about real estate is that you need money to get into it.
Mhm.
We teach people how to do fix and flips and how to be landlords and things of that nature. But one of our pillars, and something that has been very successful in our program, is teaching people how to get into wholesaling. And that's
Mhm.
actually when you take a buyer and a seller and you take over the contract of a property and you become a middleman, very similar to drop shipping, and you make a
Mhm.
profit off of that property without actually physically putting any investment money down into it. So I've seen people make a minimum of $20,000 and up just
Mhm.
off of doing that, right? So it's been exciting to see how successful people have been in our course material. I'm not a wholesaler. I'm actually getting into my first fix and flip right now in Chicago, which I'm very excited about.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, man. I'm very excited about it. Um, and like I was saying before, using these different things by leveraging our credit, earning money in trading, earning money in drop shipping, eventually getting into real estate. This is how we're able to take our money and grow it. This is
Mhm.
how we get out of the rat race. So,
Mhm.
it's my mission to help people. I like to help people, man.
Mhm.
People within my community and people that want to be helped.
And I think, like we talked about a little bit before we jumped on this call, uh, economic empowerment is one of the things I'm passionate about, because I think, as you said, we don't learn about this stuff in school, and so we learn about it from, generally speaking, and no disrespect to anybody's parents, including my own. You learn about it from your parents, but your parents can only teach you what their parents taught them, and they can. And while all this is going on, the market's evolving consistently. Real estate's evolving consistently. The stock market is evolving consistently. The job market's evolving. All these things are changing. So the knowledge you got from your parents, even if it was good knowledge, is outdated. So I think what we have to continue to do is be interested in our own finances. Everybody claims they want to have money, but nobody wants to learn about it. And I've never understood that.
Right. Right. One thing I want to do is give a special shout out to my parents,
Hmm.
because just like you said, the market in the world is always changing. But I
Hmm.
think the biggest thing that I took from my parents is that they always wanted me to do better than they did, right?
Hmm.
So the types of things that they did for me helped position me to be in a better place. You see what I'm saying? And I
Hmm.
think that's the goal. That should be the goal, I believe, for every family. How do I allow my children to be in a better position than I was in at that age?
Hmm.
And that's how you really create residual income and generational wealth, is being able to build on that infrastructure and being able to build on top of that knowledge every single year in every single generation.
Hmm. And while we're doing it, shout out to my mom too, because my mom gave me some of the best financial advice you can have. Is you don't need that. That's it. That's all she told. You don't need that. So I don't buy a lot of stuff that I don't need. I do buy plenty of stuff I don't need, but I don't buy as much as I would
Right.
naturally, because that voice is in my head. And then when she come over and she sees, I was like, "What'd you pay for that?" I'm like, I don't even want to talk about
Oh, yeah, let's talk
it.
about it. My mom told me, "You bought another pair of shoes?"
Oh man, you a sneakerhead too?
Yeah, not really a sneakerhead, but
Okay.
like I'll buy sneakers and shoes and anything that I buy extra. My mom is
Hmm.
like, "Oh, you bought another one? Like you bought another camera?" You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And she's like, "Oh, you always spending money," and I'm just like, "Man,
If we open that closet right there behind me, I got, I don't know, 40, 50 pairs. Uh
ooh,
some of them, a lot of them sneakers. I got a lot of dress shoes too though, because I
yeah."
like to look clean no matter
And
what.
yo, that's been like my new thing. Like that's been my
Hmm.
new fetish. So like some people they'll spend two, three, $400 on sneakers. Man, I'll get some shoes, some
Hmm.
nice shoes, right? And so
Oh, bro, I got Oxfords, I got split toes, I got the cap toes, all that, all got all kinds of dress shoes, man. I love dress shoes too. Like I said, I just like shoes in general.
yeah, yeah, I like wingtips a lot.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't rock the wingtips myself, but I respect that.
Got you, got you.
So, all right, man. Well, thank you very much for coming on here, chopping it up, man. I'm gonna obviously link in the comments, just give me the description and everything for where people can find more of you at and everything. And I appreciate you going out there and trying to teach people, because financial literacy is one of the most under it's where people lack a lot of skill in our country and I think around the world. And it's one of the things we really need to do to get ahead, because unless you're making a lot of money naturally through whatever you're doing, you need to know how to make money. And if you don't make a lot of, excuse me, if you are making a lot of money naturally, you need to know how to do your, excuse me, move your money around. Otherwise, you won't be making money for very long.
Yeah, man. And just to leave you guys with one nugget, if you're looking to improve your credit, you can actually report your rent. So feel free to check out rentalkarma.com or rentreporters.com, and you guys can actually report your rent on your credit report. So quick little nugget for you that might help you out ASAP.
And there you go. Drop the mic and then walk out on that one. All right, brother. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you taking your time and coming here and chopping it up with us and giving us that knowledge. I'm gonna holler at you later.
Thank you so much, Brandon. I appreciate it.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Starting Nowhere. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see more.